Angeles and seeing everything it has to offer. But if you know me, I like to include a little spooky in my tours, which is why I found the perfect combination. Minneapolis Trolley Tours does this amazing candlelight ghost tour that you have to check out. It's an extremely immersive experience. It's a trolley trip that starts out at a haunted mansion, traveling around Minneapolis locations, exposing ghost stories that the public and business owners would rather left untold. Then a tour of the aforementioned haunted mansion where ghosts of past residents from the 1800s reside, plus a lot of surprises to discover. Next, experience Gertrude's After Hours. Did I mention Gertrude is the mansion's most famous ghost? Maybe she'll show up. And you finish up the tour at Gertrude's Lounge in the haunted basement of the mansion with refreshments and Q&A. The trolleys are climate controlled and the mansion is restored to perfection. Check out MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for more information. Have you ever met someone who not only can help you on a deep spiritual level, but also potentially change your life? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who travels the nation and lives right here in the Midwest. And she offers mediumship, mentorship, house and business parties, energy healing, palm readings, and so much more. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
Hi, this is Psychic Medium Deb. I cannot wait to hear from you. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, showers possible with a low of 48, then Wednesday, cloudy with a high of 59. For more than 40 years, the Great Wall Restaurant has been serving up Szechuan and Mandarin favorites. The Great Wall is located just north of 50th in France on the Minneapolis-Edina City line. Check them out at greatwallrestaurant.us.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host, guest, random reptoid, or chupacabra may not necessarily reflect those of AM 950 Radio, its affiliates, or its sponsors. Now, it's time to step into the unknown. There are things people experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in the corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us. Share your story, share your experience, because this isn't just your story. This is our story. This is GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun.
And this is GhostBox Radio on AM 950, where every night we talk about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. My name is Greg Bakun. Thank you very much for joining me. To start off with tonight, I got a confession to make. I've not been making very good life choices as of late. And what I mean by that is at night, like tonight, prior to getting ready for the show, I'm sitting watching YouTube videos about making steak, grilling steak, going to good restaurants that have good steak. And I'm just going to say that is probably the worst time to watch videos about one of your favorite foods, because now I am really hungry for steak. I have no steak. It makes no sense to make steak when I get done here around 11:30 or whatever. So, why do I put myself through this? Because I seem to watch it all the time. But it also leads me to something I wanted to say as well, for those of you who haven't had a chance to do so yet and might be interested in. I do want to say that I post food pics all the time on my social media platforms under a different guise, and that's Minnesota Bites. That's MN Bites on Facebook and Instagram. And really why I want people to kind of consider checking out the food, because I'm posting food about the stuff I make, also the places I go. In January of 2026, we are going to start a new show that I am working on called Minnesota Bites, where I am going to local restaurants and I am sampling the food and I am talking about the whys of the food. Like, why did you choose this cuisine? Why did you why is this so important to you? What does this restaurant mean to you? Stuff like that. It's going to be, we've recorded a number of them already, and I think it's going to be a great way to find out about local restaurants that you will want to go to, because I've been to every place I've been to so far. I've just been knocked off my feet by how good the food is. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. But go to Facebook or Instagram or both, Minnesota Bites, that shows up as MN Bites. Please consider liking and following those, because I don't know if you like looking at good food. That's a place that you're going to see a lot of good food. Well, we got the lightness out of the show tonight, as we're now moving into something quite a bit more serious tonight. And this is something that my guest tonight, psychic medium, refined divine Deb, reached out to me a couple weeks ago, and unfortunately we weren't able just to get it in like we should have, but we weren't able to do so. But tonight is something that is very important, very serious, and very recent for her and her family. And kind of, and the way I understand it is that this is kind of a, like, letting you know what this is, what to look out for, and just be aware is my understanding. Deb joining us tonight. We have her on every few weeks, just talking about experiences and stuff. And you came to me and you're like, I need to talk about identity removal. And to be very honest, this is a new one on me. I don't know what that is, but your urgency and the seriousness of what this was is something that right away is like, if this is something that is really, you're just so raring to go and you need to talk about, I take that very seriously. So first of all, Deb, thank you so much for coming on tonight. It's always good to see you.
Hi, it's really good to be here tonight. Yes, and so we have had so many people come to us that have been having possession, and their bodies have been taken over, and it's been so thick lately with people pouring out with. I feel like I'm possessed. Help me. I actually had a lady that came straight off the streets and ran into my shop, pleading for help because she felt like she was possessed. And I don't know what's going on in the universe right now, but there is so much of this taking place right now. And I have been delving into what, whys, whens, and I've been talking to Spirit about the removal of a different identity that is in your body, and how to get rid of it, and how to identify when something like this has happened to you, and when it's inside of your body. Um, I am so incredibly passionate about this, not only because a lot of people have been reaching out and needing help with this to identify what it is and how to get rid of it. It actually happened to my son 2 weeks ago. One of the scariest things I've ever seen firsthand when it happens to somebody in your family.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just it. So, the first question is, all of these people coming to you, they have possession of some kind. What is the range of what's possessing them? Is it all similar type energy? Is it different per person? What is it?
It's different per person. So what we've been doing is dropping each person down inside of themselves and doing a higher level of consciousness, where they are tapped into their higher self and able to observe and see what it is that's attached to them. And I go in with them, Greg, and we remove the entity or the dark source that's feeding off of them. And now people are going to get scared and go, oh my God, feeding off of me. What? This actually is just energy. Let's just classify it as energy. Let's not get all scared about this. This is happening all the time. People are having things like this attached to them. They just need to learn to identify it and how to remove it. That's the most important piece. And how does it get in? How does it get in? That is another thing that I want to cover tonight. Let's start there. How does it get in?
Sure.
When our energy sources are low, and when we are down and out, and when our frequency level is low, that's when things can get in. It can get in through trauma, unhealed emotions, and things that have happened to us throughout our life. We've talked about the chakra system here on live radio before, our energetic fields. Mostly the heart is where I find it attached, because that's where most of our hurt, our depressions, and our inflictions are going to take place. And so things of the in-between world need us to feed off of for them to be present in this world. And so they're going to seek anybody who has lower level frequencies.
I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense. So from there, you have, and that's so easy for, I mean, depending on certain aspects, I think there's a lot of people who are low level frequencies right now, I feel.
Yes, because the world is going through so much, and with everything costing so much, and there's a lot of fighting, a lot of killing, a lot of stuff like that. And if you're, not paying attention to your own body and paying attention to everything on the outside world, that's definitely going to lower your frequency level. Now, anybody who has any kind of mental illness or depression, or special needs like autism, high functioning autism is another one. You are more susceptible to something like this. Now, when I worked in the autism room, I would see this all the time. You'd see the glazed over eyes, you'd see the darkness in the eyes, and you'd see the changing in the face. You would see changes in emotions and mood, and it would almost like they would switch on a dime. They'd be talking to you, they'd be really nice and sweet, and then just switch, and their eyes would be glazed over. And sometimes it would last for a couple of seconds, and sometimes minutes. Um, all of this is something that all other third world countries know that just takes place, and they do this as an upkeep. They will scan their bodies and release anything not attached. They will claim sovereignty over their bodies and demand anything that isn't theirs to be released. And so this is something that they've done always. Here in the United States, we have really lost our connection to our spiritual selves and our spiritual connection and our spiritual hygiene. And so it's so important, you guys, that we start taking honor and credit for where our spiritual stance is and a hygiene of our spiritual bodies. Matt Schmidt has a lot of really wonderful pre-recorded meditations to get rid of entities on his free YouTube, Matt Schmidt Quantum Healing. I've been working with him one-on-one very closely, especially since I had this happen to my own son. I've done entity release for about 7 or 8 years, but nothing to this extreme magnitude of darkness before. So we can have attachments that make us feel tired, that increase hunger, take away sleep, increase sleep, things like this. But there are more darker forces that can take over the body and actually change aggression, attitude, voice, the voice changing, the pigment in the skin changes. And you can get things like seizures, seizure looking convulsions, and things like this. That's exactly what we dealt with here in our house. It was, don't want to say terrifying, but most alarming to see something like that happen to your loved ones. I immediately reached out to all of my resources and brought them in, because when it's your child, you don't have the discernment that's needed. And so I brought in a whole bunch of people that were specialists on this. And we did find the leak, the hole, like where it got in. And it was that he was heartbroken from his first girlfriend that he was dating for a year, had broken up with him, and he had not healed this yet. So he had this heartbreak. This is how it got in. And so we were able to talk to the entity and release it and get it to understand that to leave Talon and to not be a part of him. And we released it back into the light. Actually, this one actually did go into the light, which was wonderful. I'm talking so fast. Stop me, Greg, if you have any questions or want to comment.
No, because it's very interesting. The questions that I would have, when it's, first of all, the sheer darkness of it, and a couple things. I want to back up here a quick second, because I want to just say from personal experience as well, folks. If there's anybody listening right now who's like, you mean just over a relationship? Really, that's the whole? Absolutely, it is. I could speak from experience to that. Because how we deal with things are different than how you may deal with things. So it's individually very different from everyone else. So this darkness that was with your son, how long would that have been with him then?
So it was with him for a year. If you remember, I reached out for your help and some of your suggestions back, 7 or 8 months ago when it started.
Yeah.
With doors slamming and knocking and scratching and all the things. We would clear and smudge and sage and, do all the things. But with something so close to me, I can't see it because we as psychic mediums, we can't see for those that we love and that are the closest to us. Every time I was home, it would never happen. No scratching, no nothing, no, nothing in his face would present and it wouldn't show itself because these things are really smart, regardless of what someone might think. And so it never showed itself to me. So it would always happen when I wasn't around.
And I mean, that just makes sense that it's going to be intelligent. It doesn't want to be caught. It'll understand energy. So it understands your energy and knows that it doesn't stand a chance.
Oh yeah.
So it's going to, so does it manipulate your son then to make it so that he acts around you just as normal, basically normal to you?
Yes. Yep. But this time, my daughter immediately grabbed the phone and she turned it on so I could see. She was videoing me. Complete like convulsions. I can feel you guys. We are so telepathic. You didn't take him to the ER. What if this is medical? You're wrong. I did. I actually had him rushed by ambulance to the medical facility, the ER, right away to have his brain scanned, to have his heart scanned, to have his body scanned, and make sure absolutely 100% that this wasn't medical. I scanned it head to toe. $9,000 later, Talon is completely healthy. There's nothing wrong with him. Not his brain, not his heart, not his body. There's no illnesses whatsoever. All the blood panels, everything came back completely normal and healthy. So the next thing's next is, of course, Talon's terrified because he was there paralyzed for about 2 hours and couldn't move his body. This thing had him pinned down and he couldn't move his body. And the EMTs thought this was anxiety and a panic attack, but it definitely was not. I mean, was he panicking? Well, yes, because he couldn't move. But once we were able to get that to release and let him up, he was completely fine. It was just like a bad dream to him.
I want to do this before we get too much further into this. I want to take our first break here. There's so many questions, folks. If you have questions, put them into the comments because this is real stuff we're talking about here today, and you can never be too prepared and know what's going on. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. Greg Bakun here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com. Have you ever met someone who not only can help you on a deep spiritual level, but also potentially change your life? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who travels the nation and lives right here in the Midwest. And she offers mediumship, mentorship, house and business parties, energy healing, palm readings, and so much more. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
Hi, this is Psychic Medium Deb. I cannot wait to hear from you. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
Greg Bakun here. I love historic tours of Minneapolis and seeing everything it has to offer. But if you know me, I like to include a little spooky in my tours, which is why I found the perfect combination. Minneapolis Trolley Tours does this amazing candlelight ghost tour that you have to check out. It's an extremely immersive experience. It's a trolley trip that starts out at a haunted mansion, traveling around Minneapolis locations exposing ghost stories that the public and business owners would rather left untold. Then a tour of the aforementioned haunted mansion where ghosts of past residents from the 1800s reside, plus a lot of surprises to discover. Next, experience Gertrude's After Hours. Did I mention Gertrude is the mansion's most famous ghost? Maybe she'll show up. And you finish up the tour at Gertrude's Lounge in the haunted basement of the mansion with refreshments and Q&A. The trolleys are climate controlled and the mansion is restored to perfection. Check out MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for more information. And, as we're talking tonight with Deb, I do wonder how many people out there who are listening are finding some kind of relevancy to what she's saying. Like, stuff is kind of sounding familiar, perhaps that they are finding loved ones that are kind of going through similar stuff. And I do want to just at this point very quickly just remind folks to reach out to Deb. Go to refinedivinepsychic.com. There's a lot of resources available to you that goes beyond what we're talking about tonight, as well as on Facebook, Refined Divine Psychic Medium. Go there. Please like the page. Also, if you would like to see her in person this weekend, you are going to be at St. Cloud, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we're going to be right up there. We're going to be at the, how do you say it, Dave? Courtyard and Marriott at the St. Cloud.
That's right. Yeah, great town. So, folks, a lot of because I feel like that there's going to be people who are listening tonight and they're like, that sounds familiar. For those who are just joining us tonight, we're talking about a couple different things here, and one of them is talking about something that Deb has been running into more. Is like there's a lot of people who are experiencing possession, but what we're also really focusing on at the moment, because this is such a serious case, is her own son that just very recently, just a few weeks back, they were finally able to release that from him. And Deb, the question I have, I know we as the general, we like to put terms to this sort of thing, the dark energy and stuff, and like demons, stuff like that. I mean, what is this that was with your son?
So this was more than dark. This was something that was, I hate to use the word demonic.
Was it true? Was it truly? I mean,
yeah.
And one of the things.
It truly was. It truly was. It was the whole reason for his suicidal thoughts. It was the whole reason for all the things that had been happening to him. And he come out into the open and shared, a whole bunch of stuff that had been happening that he thought people were thinking he was crazy. And I mean, I know, I get it. You're like, you have a psychic medium for a mom. Why would she think you're crazy? I don't know. I wouldn't have thought he was crazy. But you keep these things to yourself, and he shared them all. For example, he knew that thing was holding him down, like he could see it. And I just, it was definitely demonic.
And folks, there's something to always kind of keep in mind when we're talking about demonic possession. There's generally 4 stages to it, and in some form. And those stages are infestation, oppression, obsession, and then possession.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's like they basically beat down the human until they can't withstand it anymore. And that's exactly what happened with the suicidal thoughts and all the things.
Yep. And that's exactly what, when you said your son thought that people would think he's crazy, that's the biggest part of it, is that this demonic entity is going to separate this person from his support group. And that's exactly what he did. That's what it did. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Incredible. And that's the thing too, is, you're talking about the scratches and stuff and everything else. Courtney says become submissive. Yes. But also just feeling without, without purpose. Yeah.
And without purpose. Exactly. That's exactly right, Greg, without purpose. And that's what he was feeling, without purpose. And I'm telling you, since it's gone, the child went and got a job. I mean, he's 17, but he got a job. He's been happy. He doesn't feel any of these thoughts. No darkness whatsoever. He's been sleeping at night, like out fishing outside. I mean, in the last year, he hasn't done any of this. Like, we've really just been struggling with mental health and happiness and, all the things. And, the second part of this is just even crazier.
Yeah.
Right after the entity was removed, Talon went into his room and a perfume bottle exploded. And he came out and told me that it exploded, and it was the girl he is currently dating. And I hit her perfume, and I was like, "Oh, that's so weird." And 30 minutes later, the girl he was currently dating called and broke up with him.
Really?
Yes.
So why that? Why is that?
So when they talked to us about karmic ties, when we were working with Matt Schmidt and working with the guy from Egypt, they were talking to us about karmic ties and frequency levels of the demonic thing and how it was in Talon and the frequency level of Talon. Now that Talon didn't have that in him and his frequency level wasn't low anymore and it was way up here, he no longer aligned with this karmic loop he was in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, so it pretty much deleted that path, right? Once this was removed, he no longer had to walk that path, and she was a part of that path.
It's so interesting, and it's almost casebook, isn't it? How this worked.
It's
As far as
crazy. It's even to me, who is a psychic medium, I talk to dead people all the time. I often tell you, and I tell everybody this, that I don't work with the in between world very often.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, God is just putting it right in my face, right in my house, in my back door, not letting me not deal with this. Like, I just have to. And usually when people come to me with this kind of thing, if I can avoid it and send them to somebody else, I do. But not anymore. We're ready to deal with it and to help people with this part of their life. And, it's not to be feared. That's the number one thing I want everybody to understand. It's not to be feared. It really is just energy. And energy matches energy. And energy is movable. It's neither creatable nor destroyable, but it's movable. And so that means we can fix it, we can move it, we can release it. It can go.
Do you think this energy, I mean, I'm not saying it's not powerful. I mean, don't get me wrong. But do you think that this energy isn't as powerful as it lets on? It acts more tough than it really
It's
is.
smoke and mirrors. It's
Yeah.
smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
It's smoke and mirrors. That's exactly right. It's
Yeah.
smoke and mirrors, and it will show you things and give suggestive thoughts to work you down, to wear you out, to bring your energy level down, so that it can have more of the forefront of who you are. And so its whole purpose is to stay alive and to stay here on Earth. Like, that's what it's doing. And so it's going to use as many smoke as mirrors as it possibly can with the suggestive thoughts. So if you're getting intrusive thoughts and you're not sleeping and getting sleep paralysis and things like this, that's the signs I want you to be aware of. And they said, say it again: sleep paralysis, intrusive thoughts, and acting like you normally don't act. Like, you'll notice it,
Yeah.
and getting the intrusive thoughts that feel just crazy. Like, I used to get, when I was in my 20s, I used to get the intrusive thoughts like drink the Drano, jump out the car door, turn the wheel into the side of that truck coming forward. I mean, crazy shit like that. That's the stuff we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Also too, and maybe I'm overthinking this a little bit. You are pretty much, really very far into the light, aren't you? I mean, you yourself very much into
Yes.
the light. The one thing I know about, because I've studied demons and demonic quite a bit. It's kind of a thing for me. Do you think that this is possibly, even though it affected your son, it was purposeful for you to mock you?
Yeah. Oh God, yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Like literally I heard when we were removing this, look at you, you're not even psychic, you can't even see me.
Yeah.
But I didn't pay it any attention. You don't give it any attention. Like
No.
you don't give it any energy, you don't focus on it, you pretend like you don't even see it. Because the more energy you give something like that, the more it can be present and the more it can grow.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So you say that it went into the light. So what does that mean exactly for it?
Sure. So everything comes from the light. So anything that is dark or demonic once was of the light. Everything comes from the light. And for whatever reason it came into earth form, and when its human life is done, sometimes it can decide not to go to the light, which is the afterlife, the universal light. People call it heaven, the ever after, the happily ever after. I don't know what you want to call it.
Yeah. Yeah.
um it's that. And so it can decide not to go into the light once it's passed over on the other side. And it becomes an energetic form that floats around, and it's trying to find things to, I say feed off of, and I know that scares people, but I don't know how to explain it other than that, because it gets its energy from human beings. And
Mhm.
so the whole reason for its attachment or its feeding from our energy is to stay more present here on Earth. Like for example, somebody who was an alcoholic who passed away and is in the in-between world is going to look for another alcoholic.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like that.
Yeah.
Or somebody who's trapped in the in-between world that wants to be loved, will find somebody else who also is searching for that. It's like an alignment of frequency.
Absolutely. You also mentioned, yeah, it frightens people when they hear feeding off of. At the same time, there needs to be a almost like a respect of what it is, and maybe you don't want to be frightened of it, but you also want to be understanding that this is serious, right? I mean, there's
Yeah.
that fine line of like,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to scare people, and I don't want people to get all freaked out from this, but I also want to bring awareness so that people are aware that this happens. And people are like, "Well, how often?" Well, I don't know, 5 out of 10. And they're like, "No way." I'm like, "Way." It's actually a lot. And you don't know when it's something that's just a small attachment, it'll have subtle changes. Like you won't be able to sleep, or you'll want to sleep all the time, or you feel sad when you're usually really happy, or you'll be manic, or different things like this. Just pay attention. And so how do you get rid of it? Like I said, you can go to Matt Schmidt's YouTube, Quantum Healing. It's beautiful free meditations to get rid of this. YouTube has a lot of free meditations to get rid of possessions. If you need help, you can reach out to Matt, or you can reach out to me, or I have some other resources for you. Um, uh, Cold water, salt water clearings, smudging yourself, submerging yourself in cold water, recognizing who you are and claiming sovereignty over your body is key.
yeah, yeah. Um, it's so interesting and frightening at the same time. One of the things that in this field of paranormal, which isn't necessarily the field that you're in, but they all connect anyway.
Hmm.
I find so many people who think that they are, if lack of a better term, above the law. Like they think that they can control this stuff, and they don't have the ability. You know where I'm going, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
you can't.
Mm-mm.
And they want to pick it up themselves. They want to they're goading it. And it's like, I don't understand why people I mean, it's like they must never have actually really have had it for them to make mistakes like that, or they have and they don't realize it.
I'm most likely they have and don't realize it.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, I mean, it's just really, and it's interesting because we have a lot of pauses tonight because this is this is unknown territory for you and I to talk about. Actually, this is really interesting because we're always about the positive. We're always about, the if we're talking about aliens, we're talking about the aliens at the campfire that you all brought in and stuff like that. But this is a different thing entirely. And I'm actually really happy to be talking with you about this because it is something that I don't think a lot of people, it's out there. And if you're not careful, this can happen. And I don't want to scare people either by being like, it's waiting for you outside your door. but you're right. If people are starting to feel like that they are not themselves, or that they're hearing stuff being said to them, like there's a conversation, when it's not you talking to you. I mean, maybe we've done this enough that we know those sort of things, but it's a very different, scary, and it's almost like you gotta get someone involved immediately, even just so that you can actually have a buddy system in place.
Yeah, don't be afraid to reach out for help. I don't charge for somebody to reach out and say they need help or to ask for referrals or anything like that. It's not always about the money. And, if I can find your free resources, by all means, if I can help you heal yourself freely, I would do that first before doing the appointment with you, because it actually is pretty easy to do a meditation, drop in, and to release these things out of your body that are attached. And you can see them during the meditations. It's actually quite cool to see that it was actually just a lost whatever energetic form that needed help to find its way home.
Absolutely. And it's really good. But I will say this, because we've run into this before, like with one question readings and stuff. If you reach out to Deb and she suggests stuff for you to do it. You know what I mean? If you're reaching out and she's saying you just need to do this and it's a free consultation or whatever, that's the thing that I seem to run into mostly, Deb, is people, they'll act like they're hearing you. They'll shake their head. But they're not actually following through with what you're saying, and then they'll come back to you in like a month or two and be like, it's still with me,
And then I say, here's my fees. This is what I charge. And this is how we can go about this, because obviously, there's a line too. And if you want to help yourself, then I'll help you. But if you're just not helping yourself, then there's nothing I can do. Because here's the ending of this story that's so incredibly true for everybody. You must heal the whole reason why this happened in the first place. Otherwise, it's like leaving the window open. It's like having a bunch of raccoons come through the window and not closing the window. You gotta shut down the reason why it got there in the first place, and why it was able to attach, or how it got in. And how it gets in is you have unhealed trauma, like we talked about in the beginning here. And so you must release, heal, forgive, and let go of these hurts and pains that are inflicting upon you and causing you to get into these loops and karmic cycles.
Do you think, and I need to take a break here in a second, but do you think that means then that, it's kind of a two-pronged approach? People are going to need to talk with you or do, healing of some kind, but also sometimes it may also mean doing some kind of counseling as well to do that other bit.
Counseling, you, me, resources out there. There's meditations to also heal, traumas. There's all kinds of free stuff out there too, you guys. I'll tell you, Matt does a really good job of stacking the free stuff and how to do and what to do next and how to do it.
That's great. Why don't we go ahead, take our next break. And folks, once again, if you have questions, put them in the comments. We've been covering off a lot. I got some more questions as well. We got much more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. We are talking about identity removal. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. Greg Bakun here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey, bacon, avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com. Have you ever met someone who not only can help you on a deep spiritual level, but also potentially change your life? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who travels the nation and lives right here in the Midwest. And she offers mediumship, mentorship, house and business parties, energy healing, palm readings, and so much more. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
Hi, this is Psychic Medium Deb. I cannot wait to hear from you. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
Greg Bakun here. I love historic tours of Minneapolis and seeing everything it has to offer. But if you know me, I like to include a little spooky in my tours, which is why I found the perfect combination. Minneapolis Trolley Tours does this amazing candlelight ghost tour that you have to check out. It's an extremely immersive experience. It's a trolley trip that starts out at a haunted mansion, traveling around Minneapolis locations exposing ghost stories that the public and business owners would rather left untold. Then a tour of the aforementioned haunted mansion where ghosts of past residents from the 1800s reside, plus a lot of surprises to discover. Next, experience Gertrude's After Hours. Did I mention Gertrude is the mansion's most famous ghost? Maybe she'll show up. And you finish up the tour at Gertrude's Lounge in the haunted basement of the mansion with refreshments and Q&A. The trolleys are climate controlled and the mansion is restored to perfection. Check out MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for more information. And join me tomorrow on GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun. We're going to have a very interesting show, I think, tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to it. I compiled a list of different pieces of footage that is said to be, aliens in it or spaceships in it or UFOs in it. And we're going to kind of go through that list tomorrow. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to see and kind of have a conversation about what is real, what's not real, what was a hoax. And we're going to just kind of talk a little bit about it. I'm going to unlock Adam's microphone tomorrow so he can join in and talk about it as well. And I think it's going to be a real fun conversation because some are very obvious. Some, I still just like, I don't know. It's very interesting. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about alien footage. What do we know exists? And from that, what do we think is real and not real? So join us tomorrow for that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Tonight, we're having a very interesting conversation about, just dark entities that have found their way into people. And we've talked a lot about Deb's son, who thankfully I was able to get that pulled off of him and kind of life-changing, really, quite honestly. Now, Deb, I had a question for you. Something came up in my mind during the break. Obviously we can call what you did as like exorcism, an exorcist. Do you define a difference between an exorcist and what you were able to do in that situation?
It's all the same. The removal of it, to banish it, to release it, to remove it, to get it to move away from the human form is all the same. It's an exorcism. Sure.
Do you think when people say that people recoil when Bible verses read and stuff like that, is that the power of faith? And when I mean the power of faith, I don't mean like the power of necessarily religion, but the power of the faith that person has bestowed on their belief system.
Correct. And so it's all about the energy and the energetic that what you're putting into how you're releasing it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And so you can use love and light without using Bible verses, but the Bible verses amplifies what you're doing because of the power in the scripture. Because the script, how many millions and billions of people have read the scripture and believe in it. So that's why it's so powerful on this earth realm, because of the belief in it.
That's interesting. It's such an interesting piece to it. I've interviewed people before on the program that call themselves like demon hunters, kind of similar to what we were talking a little bit on the last segment. I don't know. Why would anyone want to put themselves in that? I mean, there's one thing for people to come to you and correct me, maybe I'm off here. I think it's one thing for people to come to you and ask for help. The other is someone who feels like that they're going out there in the field and tackling demons and stuff. I never really understood how that works personally. I don't know if you ever heard such
Yeah,
things.
no, I ain't hunting for nothing. Nope, I'm gonna sit back here in the light, in the joy and happiness where I belong. But if somebody comes to me and needs help, I will definitely help them or find the resources for them to get the help that they need. But I tell you, it's just been one after another after another. I would guess 50 people in the last 3 weeks.
But that's
It's
a
a
lot.
lot. It's a lot.
Man, that's a lot of people. And was it all similar stuff to your son? It sounds like your son was much more severe than the rest, though.
Talon was much more severe, but he's been dealing with this for a long time. So intrusive thoughts and, feeling nauseous or not feeling like themselves or feeling like something was chasing them or something, or nightmares and uh, sleep paralysis.
So in the case of your son, how are you concerned? Well, you said you saw it go out onto the light, but are you concerned of anything else, like finding its way in?
We will be doing weekly meditations to be scanning the body and hygiene upkeep.
I bet. I
Hmm.
bet.
Oh yeah.
Well, and that's just it too. For anyone out there listening who, have been through something like this, or even honestly just gone through a Reiki session or something, it's like, you don't stop there. You keep it going. You find the time and you make the time. And I say this while not always doing it very well myself, but you try to find the time you need to be able to put time aside to have that meditation, to be able to kind of keep everything aligned as
Yeah.
best as you can.
It's 25 minutes. The one that's on Matt Schmidt's YouTube page is 25 minutes long.
I'm actually gonna look him up right now. That's what I'm going to do. Matt Schmidt, huh?
I will
Let's see.
send it to you. Hmm.
You're saying me looking for it right now is not a great use of being on the air? Is that what
Oh,
you're trying to
go
say?
right ahead.
No, it
Go
says,
right ahead.
first thing that shows up is Matt Schmidt Quantum Healing, and he does
Yes.
not look how I expected him to look, but he sounds like he's amazing. He sounds like
He's
he
amazing.
yeah.
He does our shows. We're actually really close friends with him. He's absolutely amazing. Dave and I both have done full quantum healing sessions with him. They take up to 4 hours to have a full quantum healing session done. But he also does individual sessions for stuff like this, and then he has tons of free resources.
That's great.
I could
wonder if
put him in touch with you. I bet you he'd be a great guest for the show.
well, look at you and I right now. I was just about to say, I wonder if he'll come on my show. So look at
Oh
that.
God, yeah, he would. You guys would have a good time. He's a great guy.
Well, and once again, you and I are on the same page as always. It's pretty fun to watch. So yeah, no, that's really cool. No, he looks so, folks. Yeah, it's Matt Schmidt, MattSchmidt, Quantum Healing. Go there and subscribe to his channel, and yeah, he has a lot of videos out there, a lot of helping. Just looking at one right now. Remove energy attachments, entities, and negative energy. Guided meditation. It's 23 minutes.
That's the one.
Yeah. Look at that. It showed up. Right. It kind of was like, is that trying to tell me something? That was the first one I saw.
it just came right out at you.
It came out right at me. Well, and you probably feel this of me. I kind of walk the line. You know what I mean? Not purposely, but also my interest. I do. I know I walk the line on
Oh
that.
yeah, we as people and humans, what we indulge ourselves in. Like my son, he loves horror movies.
Yeah.
And scary things like this, and so that's also going to open doorways for this stuff.
And that's something too, I think people need to understand. And we're not saying don't watch this stuff, but if you are, there is one person, and Shar was really good at kind of setting this person straight. It was pretty amazing, actually. They were talking about how every night they go to bed watching like true crime, like gory true crime
Oh my
stories.
God.
And Shar is just like, you can't do that. It's no one's saying you can't watch the stuff, but you can't do it every night because that has a adverse effect on you, just as we've been talking about for the past hour here.
Yeah. When I met Dave, Greg, he used to watch that stuff and go to bed to it.
Yeah, Dave, that's just a whole other crap show. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just a whole other.
Oh, I know what you're saying. I lived it.
No, I watch it from afar, and I'm not impressed, quite frankly. No, I'm just kidding. Dave is. We had Dave on a few weeks ago, about a month ago, and it's always interesting to hear his growth. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Even though he fights it and doesn't really want to talk about it when you put him on the air, it's okay. It's just how it works. But never had so much dead air on a show. But that's fine too. I'm so happy that your son is okay now. I remember when you reached out, and you could just feel, sometimes you could just feel energy in messages, right? That it's just this sort of like frantic, like, oh my God, you won't believe this. This is something we have to talk about. I mean, it's just, there's something, it's just like, and we talk about demonic stuff on the show before. And we've had demonologists on the show before, but this is a different sort of conversation about it, I feel like, tonight. And that this is to be able to see it from your perspective as a healer, and I really appreciate the transparency of you saying, I'm too close. I couldn't, there's stuff I can't see when it's that close to as a family member that close.
Absolutely. I am the first to admit when I can't see something or I don't know something, because I'm human, just like everybody else, and we need to understand and know that we don't know everything, because we don't. And just because I'm an incredible psychic medium and clairvoyant does not mean that I can see for my family. And I'm the first one to reach out and to get help when it has to do with my family, because my God, we all know how much I love my family. They're my life. But everybody needs to be able to do that, be able to say, I need help. Can you help me?
I had a psychic medium once, and you'll know who I'm talking about when I say it. And her aunt was a very powerful psychic medium, but she had a lot of health problems, and she was going into the hospital and asked my friend who was a psychic medium, asked her, what do things look like? And she said, well, from what I can see, it looks great. You'll be fine. You'll get through it. And she died. And that was one of those things of, that's not a bad psychic medium. That is, there are certain things that I personally believe that when you're that close, you're not allowed to see. You're just not allowed to see that stuff.
Because we have to live human lives.
Yeah.
We have to live human lives, and we can't see everything. There would be absolutely no purpose for my life if I could see stuff about my loved ones, my close family, or my close friends. I wouldn't learn my lessons, and I wouldn't have my life paths that I'm supposed to travel and do. There would be no reason for me here. So I would delete and I would go back in. We don't want that. We want to have a normal life just like everybody else.
And it's important that people understand that. We get so many people who are ready. They want to see psychic mediums fail. They want to be like, when someone trips, a psychic medium trips, taking a walk, and they're like, well, you didn't see that coming. That sort of garbage. And it's just
I cannot tell you how many people are like, oh, I saw you searching for your keys. I'm like, no, bleep, bleep. Really?
And it's like,
I talk to dead people. I don't know where my keys are.
Right. It's not quite the way that people want it to be. And you see people who want to see it fail for some reason. And that's on them for being sad like that. Honestly, it's like, boy, what a closed-minded existence. But that's fine, because that's not me. I could care less ultimately. So, No.
Yeah, they can go up there and live their happy lives. It's fine with us.
Absolutely. Now, once again, as we talked about, go to refinedivinepsychic.com. There you can see all the services that Deb offers, as well as classes, cruise. There's a cruise coming up. And November, it's plenty of time if you want to get that November getaway. And then going to Mexico, as well as everything else. And once again, too, reach out and check out Matt Schmidt. If you feel like you're having those thoughts and stuff, it's a good thing to do, and also include other people within your world when it comes to that stuff, about just what's going on. Your true friends and family are not going to laugh. They're not going to scoff at it. So keep that.
And if they do, reach out to us, because we won't.
Absolutely. And then, of course, you are going to be in St. Cloud on Saturday, and that's going to be fantastic.
And if you say GhostBox at the front door, you're going to get in for free.
Ooh, there you go. Say GhostBox at the front door. Don't let me down by showing Deb that we don't have a great following for her. So please go out to St. Cloud and a nice day trip, and say GhostBox at the front door. Get in for free. And that's fantastic. I'm so excited to find out how that goes for you all. I love St. Cloud. So you're done talking to me, aren't you? You're all Debbed out over there, aren't you? You just no more. That's fine.
Human Debbie doesn't have a ton to say, and that's the absolute truth. When we're on a certain subject, when the subject is done, I'm just done. And Dave's always like, it would be helpful if you had a little bit more engagement. And I'm like, I've never been that person.
That's great.
Channeling, I can channel all day long for hours and hours on end.
That's okay. We're done anyway. We're done with the show. Once again, go to refinedivinepsychic.com. Deb will be back in, I think, a week or two. She'll be doing one question readings, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Everyone, thank you very much. Deb, thank you very much. And we'll be talking about alien footage tomorrow, so stick around. Everyone, have a good night.